and welcome everyone. Welcome to this episode of The Inner Child Speaks. And today we have with us Dr. Vishruti Gupta. Vishruti, as I call you, she happens to be an academic in the field of economics. She also is a tarot card reader, a prolific one. And she also happens to be a family constellation facilitator, an inner child therapist herself, a regression therapist herself, EFT practitioner herself. So, Vishruti, most welcome to this episode.
Thank you, Gaurav. Thank you for having me, and thank you for such a wonderful introduction. Hi, everyone.
Thank you, Vishruti. Vishruti, you have been a part of, let's say, our life and our family of coaching and
Yes.
therapy for a very, very long time. However, before that, your entry into the world of integrated healing, alternative healing, was through tarot card reading, which has been your oldest skill, I would say. So, please tell us that when you went ahead with learning inner child work, uh, was there a way by which you could integrate inner child work with tarot, and did it affect the way you would read cards for people, for clients? What was your experience like?
Yes, of course. After going through the process of inner child healing myself as a client, and later on when I learned the modality back in 2019 with you in a physical workshop, it did have an impact not only on my life but also in my tarot practice. So my readings became deeper. I was able to have additional meanings to the cards, in the sense that I could see that how one can identify childhood traumas just by using tarot cards.
Wow.
So sometimes what happens is the client is not very comfortable in opening up.
Mhm,
They are not willing to share their traumas.
mhm,
Sometimes they are not even aware that what has happened with them is traumatic and is leading to an impact or a block in their adult life.
mm,
So then usually what I do is I say, okay, let's see what is the block in this situation.
right.
And so if we ask correct questions
Mm,
from the cards, we do get the answers. And when I say, okay, the cards are saying that probably this event has happened in your life, which is the
mm,
block. And
mm,
then they say, oh yes, this happened in my childhood.
right.
When I integrate the inner child healing work with tarot work, and I this what I call is energy healings with tarot, you know
Wow. So
so
you've been
it
able
has
to create an actual, course workshop around, bringing inner child and tarot together.
so not yet. I'm planning to do one
Okay,
soon.
okay.
But yes, this is something that I have been using with my clients. If you ask right questions, you can actually identify the hidden traumas from the childhood through the cards. And
Wow.
this understanding I was able to get only after having gone through experience myself, and going through this workshop as training workshop. So this has immensely deepened my readings. It has helped my clients too.
Yes, you have been a part of our 2019 workshop. We used to do that workshop
Yes.
in person, but then now we
Yes.
have converted the entire structure into an online format. Um,
Hmm.
Maybe we'll come back to that, but first I want to know, Vishruti, you also happen to be a family constellation facilitator. You
Yes.
joined our course last year and you finished it successfully, and you are practicing now. Now, a lot of people, what happens is they ask me, is inner child healing different from family constellation? If I'm learning constellation work, should I go ahead and learn inner child healing? And there is always this rift. So, because you happen to be both, so maybe you could give us a few pointers on that. Why should one go ahead if they happen to be trained in constellation work?
So first of all, inner child healing and family constellation work are two different modalities.
Hmm.
So one basic difference is that when a client undergoes a family constellation session, then the person is an observer, and what the person observes is probably an event.
Right.
However, in the inner child healing, it is an experiential thing where the process is done on the client. So
Hmm.
you're regressing the client back into the childhood, and
Right.
everything is felt by the client in the body, and the client feels everything. So
Hmm.
that is one basic difference. And how in a so that is one thing. And family constellation is a very different modality altogether, in the sense that we try to look for the root cause of the problem in the family line,
Hmm.
when we look at the problem from a holistic point of view, from the family point of view.
Hmm.
Whereas when we are trying to find the root cause in the childhood, then it is a very individual approach to resolve an issue.
Hmm.
So that's there. And how these two things can be used together. So having learned both the modalities, I feel that one contributes to the other. They
Hmm.
are complements, they are not substitutes actually.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
That's
So
wonderfully put.
yes, so they complement each other very well. Because so I have experienced in my inner child healing sessions with my clients, that sometimes the client in that regression mode says that, okay, this is my ancestor. So
Hmm.
now my knowledge from family constellation would help me to take the session ahead,
Right.
right?
Right.
Now let's say the other way around. If you are doing a family constellation session,
Hmm.
and one of the representatives says, okay, I feel like a child,
Hmm. Hmm.
then okay, it's not the adult who's speaking, it's the inner child of the client who's speaking.
Right.
And then
Right.
you can actually bring in the knowledge from your inner child learning from that workshop
Hmm.
into the family constellation, and combine them beautifully together and bring resolution to your client.
Yeah. So there's a
So
merging that happens. Yeah.
exactly, that happens. And the thing is, you never plan your sessions.
Hmm.
You cannot think, okay, even if you know the problem of the client, you may have other clients with similar problems in the past, but you still cannot have with 100% surety that in this direction my session will go,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Because when it's the client who's actually doing the work.
True.
You're just a tool, right?
Hmm.
So you're just helping the client navigate, right? So now what happens if my inner child session has gone into an ancestor,
Hmm.
right? Or let's say if the client is saying, okay, this problem belongs to my father,
Hmm.
then what will you do? So that's where family constellation helps there. And likewise, inner child healing knowledge helps in other modalities as well.
That's true.
So I truly feel that after learning both the modalities, right, I feel that as if I can bring a holistic healing to my client. I'm prepared, right?
Wonderful.
It's like I'm prepared for whatever shows up in the session.
Yeah. Yeah. So I can deal
Yeah.
with anything now because,
Yes.
I have the knowledge of an attachment
Yes.
trauma if it's from childhood,
Yes.
or if it's an intergenerational trauma from
Yes.
constellation work. Right.
So,
Wonderful.
so, so family constellation brings awareness, and inner child healing also brings a lot of awareness. That what are the behaviors we have picked up from our parents, and what is it that we are repeating in our life.
Hmm.
So that awareness, it's like this knowledge can be applied like literally anywhere.
True.
So
True.
being a practitioner myself, it's not necessary that I have to undergo a session myself
Hmm. Hmm.
to resolve an issue. It's like, because I have this knowledge, I
So
have
this awareness
awareness,
helps.
I
Yeah.
have this awareness, so I instantly know, okay, this is coming from my father. and
True.
and then consciously I can drop that behavior. So that's
Right.
the wonderful part about inner child healing. Because I can actually take myself back into time, not literally regressing myself back into time, but thinking back into the time, and probably think of the time where have I seen this behavior first in my
So
life.
that becomes your second nature, basically, to
Exactly.
know where it's coming from. You suddenly pick it up.
Yes. And then probably just I close my eyes and I say, okay, it belongs there, it belongs to this person, and I just drop it there.
Wonderful. Wow.
And it has brought a lot of shifts, positive shifts in my life, like truly.
A lot of people ask me, how does an inner child session feel like, look like? And I tell them that there are various ways of doing inner child. You can do it through painting, writing, journaling, poetry. But when we deliver training in this workshop, we are essentially helping a person regress back in time and reach the
Right.
inner child, heal it, and integrate it. So, because you have been through the session yourself, maybe you could
Yes.
share a few experiences from how does it feel to go through a regression session of inner child healing.
So I remember one of the sessions where we were working upon my anger issues.
Hmm. mm.
right? So this was before I was trained in the modality.
I
So I actually, yeah, so I actually did not know what's going to come. And like, I was just very open to let's see what happens,
mm, mm,
right? And in that session, I realized that I have picked up this anger, this particular feeling from my father.
mm,
And the underlying feeling that I realized in the session was coming from a 6-year old of mine, where I was very scared of being
right,
scolded or maybe being physically abused. So uh, so that was one awareness that came through that session. And one beautiful outcome that happened, of course, I was able to manage my temperament better post
right,
the session.
right.
But I also saw a surrogate effect of the session on my father. His
Oh,
anger
wow.
also reduced. Oh
Okay.
yes, yes. So that is the healing effects of a session could be not restricted only to that person who's undergoing the healing, who
We
says so.
truly needed to hear this for all the viewers and audience who are listening to this
Yes,
right now. Please listen that, know that, the healing effect can move from you and disperse into other people around you and affect your environment. Thank you so much, Vishruti, for
yes.
that.
Yes, and the other session I remember was a womb regression.
Yeah,
So basically, I slipped into the time when I was in the womb of my mother. So
right.
that was again a very beautiful experience, because I was able to realize that what all things I had picked up while being in the womb of my mother.
Mm, mm,
So yes, so both the experiences were so powerful, and they have changed my personality.
right.
And overall, if I were to summarize what has been one positive impact in my life,
Mhm,
I have struggled a lot in my life to have boundaries between me and my parents,
mm,
right?
mm,
So we always confuse the concept that, okay, if you want to have boundaries with your parents,
mm, mm,
you don't want to get indulged into everything which is between them,
mm,
right?
mm,
So people might say that, okay, you don't love them, but that's not true. You can still love your parents and have those healthy boundaries where their space is clearly defined, your space is clearly defined. You can actually tell what is acceptable, what is not acceptable. And this has been possible only after several therapy sessions, being trained myself,
right.
being able to identify that where I was uh, unknowingly or subconsciously getting into a behavior called parentification,
True, true, true.
right? So this has really opened up a new world for me, a new kind of understanding for what is happening around me. And my siblings, for example, they always question me that we are married for so many years, we are still not able to uh, get emotional and get affected by what our parents do.
Hmm,
How do you do that while you are living with them? Like, I'm
right.
literally physically living with my parents 24/7 due to the pandemic.
Right.
So I can truly tell to whoever is hearing this to me,
Hmm,
this
hmm,
method really works. It really helps to build those healthy boundaries and space between your loved ones and yourself. And it is extremely important because you can still be an individual identity while you love your loved ones. You do not have to merge into them and
that's a
repeat
huge
and repeat
reconfirmation.
and repeat their patterns in your life.
Wonderful. That's a huge reconfirmation of the work we do. The course as well as all the therapeutic modalities we use in inner child work. It's a huge reconfirmation. So
Yeah.
thank you so much for that.
I would like to just add one small example here. So I think I came with this complaint to you, that my parents fight a lot, and then I get indulged into those fights, and then I have to sort of decide who's right and who's wrong. That is a
Right.
classic example of parentification, right? So you told me, Vishruti, why don't you for some time stop getting indulged into fights? You did not do a session with me,
Hmm,
right? But
hmm,
you helped me understand because I was already trained into this inner child healing modality,
right. Right.
and therefore I could understand this. So you said that why don't you stop having the need of involving yourself into the fights?
Hmm,
Let them fight,
hmm.
be in a different room. And when I actually did it, you will not believe me, the fights actually reduced by 70 to 80% in the house.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So that truly changed not only my environment, but the environment of the entire house.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes it is our need, and that is
Yes.
true. That is
Yes, and
true.
then we keep complaining that my parents are fighting, my parents are doing this, my siblings are doing that. But the solution is within us.
Within us. Great, thank you. I mean, that's again reinstatement, sort of a confirmation for us. Vishruti, we are doing this entire program now, which you were a part of in 2019. We are doing this entire certificate program in a span of 6 months now online with 6 classes, which is one class per month. And
Okay.
we will have three support sessions as well as demonstration recordings. So, a total of 12 classes. So now what's also happening is a lot of people reach out, but then they are from other modalities. For example, someone is from tarot, another person is from EFT, some other person is from constellation work. Now you are one person who is trained in all of these modalities. So we would specifically want your word and suggestion and advice for all those people who come from different fields and would want to integrate inner child healing into their practice and become inner child healers. So what would be your suggestion to all of them?
So, one thing that this pandemic has done to all of us is we have been able to think of a possibility of this online learning and doing sessions online.
Right.
Okay, so I have myself done sessions online specifically, which are, inner child healing sessions,
Mm, mm,
right? So, one thing I want to tell all of you that it is absolutely possible. Even if you are not there physically with the client,
mhm.
you can still do a successful inner child healing session and you can bring a change. This is something that I have experienced myself, right? And the way you can integrate this with your other works, as I mentioned earlier, with the help of your training in inner child, you will be able to ask right questions from tarot,
Right,
right?
right.
And hence you will get your answers. So what has one major shift that has happened in my tarot practice is that now when I look at cards, I only see energy.
Okay. Oh, wow. Wow.
Yes, yes. So and when I teach tarot, I also tell my students, the first thing that you should get, when you look at the card is, breathe into the energy and see how you feel,
Feel. True,
right?
true.
And then over there you will get your answer. Of course, we do have core meanings of each and every card,
Right,
but every time you look at a card, it's going to make you feel something different, even if the basic meaning is same,
right, right.
right? So that is one thing that has changed. I have been able to ask the correct questions,
Hmm, hmm.
so that I get a direction, and
Right.
then I can from there on I can carry forward the session with the client in with using whatever modality I like,
Yes,
right?
yes, yes.
Now when it comes to EFT, it's a tapping technique. As we all know, we tap on 10 different meridian points on our body with certain
Hmm,
affirmations.
hmm,
Now how we combined it with inner child, you
hmm,
know uh, while you're tapping with the client,
hmm.
and you ask the client, okay, how do you feel, what does this feeling look like, etc. You can instantly ask that how old are you,
Right, right. How old are you?
how old are you. And interestingly, I have observed in my practice that if not in the first time, but
Hmm,
maybe second or the third time, the client will tell you, okay, I feel like a child, maybe I'm 7 years old.
hmm,
And you will be able to go to that event, right?
hmm.
And
Right.
then you're not tapping on that adult who has come into your therapy space, you're tapping on the body of the child
True,
through
true.
the client,
Through the client
right? And what happens is then you're not only healing the client, you're also healing the inner child of the client,
of the client.
which is very, very important. Yes.
Wonderful. Yes.
Yes, and about family constellation, as I have told you, so all these modalities, they are just complements of each other, and
They bring
yes,
together.
they can be brought together. The knowledge can be brought together and integrated beautifully to deliver a session which brings a wholesome healing
Healing.
effect,
Yeah.
right? And what happens is it gives you a lot of confidence in your
That
practice,
is true. That is true.
right? Otherwise, you may feel that, okay, if inner child comes up, then what will I do, how to
Hmm,
handle it.
hmm,
Maybe
hmm.
at that time you are able to handle it intuitively, right? I'm not saying it is wrong, but having right knowledge will bring a deeper and long lasting effect for your clients.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes.
And
And
yeah,
yeah, and this workshop, which you are bringing online, because I've been part of your several other online workshops,
true.
even if somebody is not being able to use this tool with their clients,
Hmm,
this workshop in itself will bring a lot of awareness about yourself.
true.
It will also bring a lot of healing from your own childhood
Hmm,
traumas,
Hmm.
which is very, very important.
That is number one, actually. We are all here to heal ourselves. Self
That's
healing
true.
comes
That's
first.
true. Yes.
And thank you for reinstating that. Vishruti, just for our audience and viewers, you are on Instagram and Facebook as well. Please
Yes.
share your handle. With what handle are you there on Instagram and Facebook?
Okay, so my handle on Instagram is vishruti.gupta, uh,
Vishruti.Gupta.
and same on Facebook.
Okay, okay. Thank you for sharing that. And I request and, of course, urge all people who may be wanting a session of tarot combined with inner child work. And if you want to feel that magic, see that magic, you should definitely go and approach Vishruti. Vishruti,
Thank you.
thank you so much for being a part of this call and being a part of our series. Thank you so much for joining in. Truly
Thank
appreciate
you,
it.
Gaurav, for having me, and I wish you all the best with this workshop. And I request all the people who are watching this video, please go for this workshop and heal yourself and your inner child.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much.